talk a little bit about astrology, transformational Vedic astrology, and I encourage you all to take the transformational Vedic astrology course. I feel very strongly that we need to take a holistic approach to helping people with any health challenges they have, any financial, career, or relationship challenges. And so, Vastu is 30%, and Ayurveda is 30%, and the other 30% is looking at their astrology, because oftentimes you can reduce the stress in the environment, but there may be some planetary stress that's prolonging any health issues they have, or any other issues. So we're just going to kind of go through and just do a little bit of a introduction to astrology. Um, Basically, transformational Vedic astrology it really helps you decide a course of action to maximize the personal growth in all areas of life. It's almost like a life coach, um, and there's really six ways it can improve your life. It's a map of your karma. It's a guide to your happiness or enlightenment, and this system is extremely accurate. Um, the, the sun sign changes every 30 days. The moon sign changes every 60 hours. And you go by the rising sign. When you were born, if you looked at the eastern horizon, you would see the constellation associated with your sign rising at a certain degree. That rising sign is the most accurate way to see who you are, why you came here, what your life purpose is, and give you some idea about the timing of events in your life and how you can better prepare for those, and how we'll go through just basically what it all means. But it's much different than Western astrology. So if you were to ask, Western astrology is based on where the planets were about 2,000 years ago. And if you were to ask an astronomer where the planets are when you were born, they would go by sidereal zodiac. Where the planets were 2,000 years ago, that's tropical zodiac. So much more accurate with the Vedic astrology. Suffering is really optional. We all go through these patterns: multiple relationships, multiple illnesses, multiple financial issues, or career issues. And Jyotish means light. It puts light on your karma so that you see these patterns. And once you see those patterns and become aware of them, you can transcend them and transform your life. Timing is everything. And, when you buy a house, or when you sell something, when you get surgery, if you know the most auspicious time, it makes all the difference in the world. Discover your life purpose. All of us have great gifts to offer, and it's all in your chart. Bring, yeah, that spiritual awakening to enlighten your life. So yeah, we just talked about this, the much more accurate the Vedic astrology. And there's really six elements to the astrology. So the signs, there's 12 signs. Again, your sign is unique. And then there's 12 houses, which you find every issue in life. If you want to know about your relationships, you look in the seventh house and the ruler of that seventh house. If you want to look at your career, you look at the 10th house and that 10th house ruler. If you want to know about your family, you look at the fourth house. If you want to know about income, you look at the 11th house. If you want to know about accidents, you look at the eighth house, etc. Every house talks about every kind of possible challenge that we could have in our life. And then the timing events is in the dasha periods and the transits, when to act on certain things and when to hold back, and when you want to be a little bit more cautious about your health, and when it's good time to take a trip, etc. And then the remedies. So there are remedies. Um, and so, yeah, all of those things are part of this course in transformational Vedic astrology. And so we have the remedies with Vastu and the remedies with Ayurveda, but the remedies with Jyotish or transformational Vedic astrology is also like a wearable yantra. Just when you look at the signs, you see, what your strength and weaknesses are. On certain planets can be weak, and then you can strengthen them, and it helps you move through life more gracefully. So you learn, how the planets are operating, if they're strong or weak or afflicted, and what we can do to fix your chart, improve your life. So here it shows the details of each house. Here we have the karma and the career, and here we have our partners, and here we have the health, sixth house, health issues. Everything is shown in every house, and then each house also correspond to a certain part of the body. The head is of the first house, and all the way through from your head all the way to the 12th house, your feet, each part of the body. And whenever you're going through a challenging phase with some part of the body, it shows up in your chart. And each direction is also related to the different parts of the body, and different family members are also represented by the different houses in the chart. And each of the signs is related to um, whether you're a water sign or an earth sign, and each like the fire signs are very creative, but they need to learn about patience. The air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, very creative and inventive, but also can be impractical. They need to learn how to be more practical. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, very intuitive, but need to learn not to be so sensitive and attached to things and people. Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, very practical, but need to learn to be more flexible, less controlling. And there's all kinds of different qualities of the different signs, and the different signs, and each sign, there's a prakriti of each sign. So you're born with a certain doshic disposition, whether you're Aries and your Pitta is your predominant dosha, or if you're Taurus, you're born Kapha Vata, etc. And then during the different planetary cycles, that can change. Each of the signs is related to the different chakras and different sounds as well. And each of the planets teach us something. Sun teaches us to be independent, to follow our heart. And Moon teaches us to trust our intuition. And Mars teaches us patience and discipline. And Mercury teaches us to use our mind, the analytical part of our mind, and not just criticize, but also bring things together to improve things. Jupiter teaches us how to grow and expand, but to be careful of excesses, not working too hard or not being excessive about things. Venus teaches us how to love the good in all things beyond the surface, and how to attract love into our life. Saturn teaches our limits and gives us focus. It's a big teacher, huge teacher in our life. And each of these planets can be strong or weak in your chart, where Like Bill Gates had a very strong Saturn and very disciplined, very committed. Whereas, different people have weaker Saturns, and that can make them very irresponsible. So you'll learn that in your chart. Rahu teaches us how to let go of material attachments that block our spiritual growth, as well as K2 similarly teaches us about insight and spiritual growth through letting go of attachments. I've included a numerology chart. I don't use it that much, but a lot of people will ask you, "Is my house number good?" And you just use these keys. So you add up. For example, if your house number is 5, 9, 10, you add all those numbers up. 5, 9 is 14, and 10 is 24. So 24, you add the two numbers, that becomes 6. So then you can just see, what kind of influence that number has, and what kind of lesson that you might learn in that house. Or you can apply it to your name. You can use the letters and the corresponding numbers to add up the what number your name comes to, what year you were born. There's lots of different uses, so I'm just including that as something that you may want to utilize. And there's a whole system of compatibility based on what number you are and your partner's number. I'm not going to go into detail. So basically, you're born, and certain things, all the stars and planets are arranged in a certain way in the sky for you to learn certain lessons, to grow and evolve, open your heart, have more compassion. But once you have the awareness of your chart, you focus the light of your consciousness on your chart, everything in your chart can be changed. Your karma can be improved. And then, based on your chart, we can figure out when's a good time to have surgery, when to a good time to avoid surgery. And I've had lots of people call me, and the doctor tells them to have surgery right away. And we can look at the chart and see, maybe like there was like an example of a kid that had a brain tumor, and the parents asked me to kind of look at his chart, and I said, is it, after looking at the chart, I could tell that there was, Mars was afflicting a planet in their first house. First house is health, and Mars is inflammation, and so I could tell that planet was very close, within 5 degrees of that affliction, but that was going to change over the next few days. So I asked them to ask the doctor if they could wait a few days for the surgery, and the doctor said, "Yeah, okay, as long as he's under observation in the hospital." So we just waited a few days, and then that inflammation went down, the tumor reduced, and didn't have to have the operation. I can tell you thousands of examples just like that. So astrology, it can be very, very helpful. And there's the remedies. We want to transform your challenging planets through charity and chanting, and we want to strengthen your weak but benefic supportive planets by wearing kavash with the yantra that strengthen those planets. And yantras are much safer than gems. Gems, you never know the quality. They can have adverse reactions. And this is the chart that I'm going to send all of you, that has each direction associated with it a certain type of illness, and then there's another chart that shows like 100 different illnesses and their corresponding planet that's weak, and how to strengthen that planet with a mantra and a yantra. And it also gives the dosha types. So this is, the 100 different illnesses and their corresponding planets and dosha types, and then what mantras and yantras you can use. So really, again, three things affects our success: stress in the mind and body, we reduce through Ayurveda; stress in the environment, we reduce with Vastu; and planetary cycles, we reduce through the remedies.